Many weeks passed, and the Adams home became quiet and sad. No one laughed like before. Daniel did not play much anymore. Joy looked up at her mother one day and asked, "Mummy, why is Daddy always angry?" Grace smiled softly. "Daddy is just very busy, my love. He will be fine soon." But when she turned away, tears filled her eyes. Michael hardly slept at home. He came home very late and left very early. Grace tried to stay strong. She cooked his best meals, prayed, and tried to talk to him kindly. But nothing worked. It felt like someone had taken her husband far away. One night, she waited until almost 2 o'clock. When she heard his car, she ran to open the door. "Michael, you're just coming back. We were worried." Michael looked tired. "Grace, please leave me alone." "I'm tired." "Tired of what?" "Of us," she asked sadly. He shouted, "You don't understand. I just need space." Daniel woke up and came to the door. "Daddy, please don't shout at Mummy." Michael looked at his son, then grabbed his car keys and left again. Grace sat on the floor and whispered, "God, what did I do wrong?" Michael went to see Rita. She smiled. "You look tired, baby. Trouble at home again?" He sighed. Grace keeps talking and talking. Rita stroked his head. "Don't worry. You're mine now." Michael frowned. "Sometimes I feel like I'm not myself anymore." Rita smiled sweetly. "You're just fine. Stay with me." By the next morning, Michael sent Grace a text. "Don't wait for me tonight. I'll be working late." But that was not true. At home, more bad things started to happen. Grace's small shop was losing customers. Suppliers forgot her orders. One day, her best customer called and said, "Sorry, I can't buy from you anymore." Grace sat on a stool and looked at the wall. "God, why is everything going wrong?" Her helper, Funk, said softly, "Madam, please don't worry too much." Grace nodded, but her heart was heavy. That night, she went to see Pastor John. "Pastor, please help me," she cried. "My husband has changed." The pastor said kindly, "Grace, keep calm and keep praying. Don't fight him. Don't give up. God will help you." Grace wiped her eyes. "Thank you, Pastor." That same night, Michael and Rita went out to eat. Rita's friend Vanessa joined them. "So this is the man you told me about?" Vanessa laughed. Rita smiled. "Yes, this is my Michael." Vanessa said, "Be careful, Rita. Married men don't always leave their wives." Rita smiled proudly. "This one already has." They laughed and clinked their glasses. At home, Grace was praying again. "Father, I'm tired. Please help me." Tears fell down her cheeks. Far away, Michael was promising Rita that they would travel on a fun trip soon. A few days later, Grace's phone beeped. A friend had sent her a picture. It showed Michael and Rita smiling together at a party. Grace stared at the picture for a long time. "So it's true," she whispered. Her heart broke. That night, when Michael came home, she said quietly, "I saw your picture, Michael. You're not even hiding anymore." He frowned. "So people are showing you my pictures now? You see why I don't have peace here?" Grace whispered, "You are hurting this family. Can't you see what's happening to you?" He laughed bitterly. "Grace, stop acting perfect. I'm tired of this life." Grace's eyes filled with tears. "Michael, don't say that." He picked up his keys and walked out again. That night, Grace sat awake until morning, crying and praying. The next morning was very quiet. Grace didn't sleep all night. Her eyes were red, and her head hurt from crying. She sat on the bed and looked at the cupboard. Half of her husband's clothes were gone. Michael had taken them, saying he needed them for work trips. But Grace knew he was now living with another woman. Her phone rang. It was her best friend, Auntie Kate. "Grace, how are you? You don't sound happy," Kate said. Grace sighed. "I don't know, Kate. My husband has changed. He doesn't love me anymore." Kate was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Don't stop praying, my friend. God will help you." Grace nodded slowly. "I hope so." Later that day, Grace went to her small shop. She tried to smile, but she was sad inside. Her neighbor, Mama Esther, came by. "Grace, how is business?" she asked. Grace smiled weakly. "Not good, but I thank God." Mama Esther shook her head. "People are saying your husband is with a young lady in Lekki." Grace froze. "Who told you that?" "Everyone is talking, my dear. But don't worry. Men will always be men." Grace smiled, but when Mama Esther left, her hands shook. It was not just a rumor anymore. That night, when Michael came home, he started packing more clothes. "Where are you going?" Grace asked softly. He didn't answer. "Michael, I'm your wife," she cried. He frowned. "So? Must you question everything I do?" Grace stepped closer. "Please, open your eyes. That woman is changing you." Michael shouted. "Grace, leave me alone." Tears rolled down her face. "You've already hurt me enough." Then he walked out and slammed the door. Days passed. Michael stopped sending money. He didn't call. The landlord came and said, "Grace, please tell your husband to pay the rent." Grace nodded, but there was no money to pay. So she went to see Michael's mother. "Mama, please help me. Michael has changed." Mama sighed. "My daughter, I've talked to him. He says he's fine. Just keep praying." Grace wiped her tears. "I'm so tired, Mama." When she went home, there was no light. The house was dark and hot. Daniel and Joy sat beside her, fanning themselves. "Mummy, when will Daddy come back?" Joy asked. Grace hugged her tightly. "Soon, my love. Daddy will come soon." But deep in her heart, she was not sure. Far away, Michael was living with Rita in a big house. He cooked and cleaned for her. "Baby," Rita said one morning, "I need money for my hair." Michael said, "Take it from the account." Rita smiled proudly. "My sweet man." But when she walked away, she laughed quietly. He doesn't even know what he's doing. 1 week later, Grace's shop rent was due. She didn't have the money. That night, she cried and prayed, "God, please don't let my children suffer." The next morning, she took them to church. The pastor said, "Sometimes God allows hard times so we can learn to be strong." Grace looked at her children and said, "Then I will be strong. I won't give up." From that day, Grace started selling meat pies on the street. She carried a tray and walked under the hot sun, selling food to strangers. She smiled, even when she was tired. One afternoon, a car stopped beside her. It was Michael's car. Grace froze. Rita sat in the front seat, laughing and eating ice cream. For a short moment, Michael looked at Grace. Then he turned his head away and drove off. Grace's heart broke into pieces. "Mummy, was that Daddy?" Daniel asked. Grace forced a smile. "No, my dear, that's not Daddy." But her eyes were full of tears. That night, Grace lay on the floor and cried. "God, I've prayed. I've tried. Why are you quiet?" The rain fell outside. The house was dark and cold. But in her heart, a small voice whispered, "You are not broken, Grace. Keep holding on." And Grace wiped her eyes and whispered, "I will." The next few months were very hard for Grace. Her shop was gone. She couldn't pay her rent. Her children, Daniel and Joy, had not paid their school fees. People in her street began to gossip. They whispered, her husband left her for a young girl. Grace heard them sometimes, but she stayed quiet. Every morning, she carried her tray of snacks and walked under the hot sun to sell them. After school, Daniel and Joy helped her. Sometimes Daniel said, "Mummy, when Daddy comes back, he will buy you a big shop again." Grace smiled and said, "Amen, my son." But deep in her heart, she didn't know if Daddy would ever come back. Far away, Michael was living with Rita. He was not happy, but he didn't know why. He cooked for her, washed her clothes, and did everything she wanted. One evening, Rita said, "Baby, I want a new iPhone." Michael said, "But you just bought one last month." Rita frowned. "Are you counting my things? Just buy it." Michael sighed. "Okay, I'll send the money." When he left the room, Rita laughed quietly. "Fool," she said. "He doesn't even know what I'm doing to him." Back at home, Grace's life became harder. She sold her jewelry to pay rent and to buy medicine when Joy got sick. One night, Joy coughed and asked softly, "Mummy, when will Daddy come and see me?" Grace held her hand and whispered, "Soon, my angel. Very soon." But her heart was full of pain. 2 weeks later, Michael's mother came to visit. When she saw Grace, she cried, "My daughter, you look so tired." Grace smiled sadly. "I'm trying, Mama." Mama shook her head. "That woman has changed my son. He doesn't answer my calls." Grace said, "Please pray for him, Mama. I still believe God can help." Mama nodded. "You are a good woman, Grace. Don't stop believing." Days passed. Grace's rent was due again. She was very tired. One day, she almost got hit by a car while crossing the road. The driver shouted, "Madam, be careful." Grace jumped back, her heart beating fast. She whispered, "God, if you can see me, please help me." That same night, Rita had a small party. Michael cooked for all her friends. One of them laughed and said, "Rita, this man is like your houseboy." Rita laughed too. "As long as he does what I say, I don't care." Michael heard them, but he said nothing. His heart felt empty. A few days later, Grace got a letter from her landlord. It said, "Final warning. Pay your rent or leave the house." Grace sat quietly and folded the paper. When Daniel came home, he saw her eyes were red. "Mummy, are you crying again?" he asked. She shook her head. "No, my dear. I'm just tired." He hugged her. "Don't worry, Mummy. God will help us." Her little boy's words gave her small hope. Later that week, Grace went to Michael's office. The secretary said, "Madam, he doesn't come here anymore. Maybe check his house in Lekki." Grace sighed. She knew Rita had him. That evening, she took her last 2,000 to the market. She bought flour, sugar, and oil. "If I can't change my husband, I will work for my children," she said. The next day, she started frying puff-puff in front of her house. Some neighbors laughed at her. "See Madam Grace, now she's selling puff-puff," they said. Grace smiled and replied, "It's better to work than to beg." Little by little, people began to buy from her. Meanwhile, Michael was growing thinner and weaker. He had bad dreams and always woke up sweating. Sometimes he called Grace's name in his sleep. Rita would slap him and shout, "Stop calling that woman." He always said, "I'm sorry, baby." But in his dreams, he saw Grace and the children crying for him. One evening, Grace's mother called from the village. "My daughter, how are you?" she asked. Grace said, "We are fine, Mama." But Mama said, "No, tell me the truth. My spirit says you're not okay." Grace started crying and told her everything. Her mother cried too. "God will fight for you, Grace. Don't give up." Grace whispered, "I hope so, Mama, because I'm tired." That night, Grace had a strange dream. She saw a dark river. On the other side, Michael was shouting, "Help me!" But a black shadow was holding him. She woke up sweating. "God, please save my husband," she prayed. The next morning, the school called. "Madam, your children can't stay in class anymore. Please pay their fees." Grace dropped her phone and cried. She felt she had nothing left. That same day, as she was selling Puff Puff under the hot sun, she saw a car drive by. It was Michael's car. She shouted, "Michael!" But he didn't stop. Rita was in the car, laughing and eating ice cream. Grace's heart broke again. Daniel asked, "Mummy, was that Daddy?" She forced a smile. "No, my dear, that's not Daddy." When she got home, she lay on the floor and cried. "God, when will this pain end?" she whispered. And even though everything felt dark, a soft voice in her heart said, "Hold on, Grace. Your story is not over yet." Grace wiped her tears, and quietly she said, "I will hold on."